The Prime Minister fired the unofficial starting gun on this campaign to change the Constitution on the very same night he won the election. Now, more than 16 months on, we're just hours away from knowing if Australia votes yes or no to the voice. The most rapid results and best analysis right here on Sky News from our team around the nation and panel of experts joining me here at the desk. Let me introduce you to them. Liberals for Yes co-convener and member of the Albanese government's referendum working group, Sean Gordon. Sky presenter and member of the Morrison government's Voice co-design group, Chris Kenny. Communications Minister Michelle Rowland. Sky's political editor, Andrew Clennell. My Sky News colleague and former Chief of Staff to Tony Abbott, Peter Credlin. Nationals leader David Littleproud. And finally, Honorary Fellow at the Australian Catholic University, Anthony Dillon. Thank you all for being here on this historic evening. Let me start with the Communications Minister, Michelle Rowland. It does look like it's going to be a tough night for the Yes campaign and for the Albanese government.
Australians have been given an opportunity to do something different here. And as we took to the election a commitment to have this referendum in our first term, we are honouring that commitment. Now, Australians always get it right. We will accept whatever decision the Australian people make, but I will say this. This has been an opportunity to give recognition to First Nations Australians, the recognition that they have asked for, the consultative process that they have asked to be enshrined in our Constitution. And again, we can have more of the same or we can do something different. And that's what this referendum has been about. And I do want to say from the outset, thank you to all the volunteers who have been on the ground throughout this long campaign, not only this year, but for many, many years since this was originally announced and even prior to that. We will know soon enough what the Australian people have decided, but until then, this is important to recognise that closing the gap remains a key focus of the Albanese government.
Peter Credlin, to you, if the results do go as we expect, as the polls suggest, what have been the key moments, the key issues around such a result?
Well, if the voice is rejected, I think it'll be the right decision to a question that should never have been asked. The only thing that has ever really been on the table is recognition. This is not recognition. I know there'll be different views around this table, like there is different views in the community, but I think the lack of leadership from the Prime Minister to ventilate in detail what the voice is, to run an orthodox referendum process. There was no constitutional convention. There was no even framework legislation. Father Frank Brennan, a very strong Yes advocate, pointed that out recently. I mean, that sort of stuff should have been on the table for people to see the architecture of what they would inherit come tomorrow if this had got up. Now, I agree with Michelle Rowland. The Australian people get it right. And I think the difficulty for the PM and for some on the front bench tomorrow will be, if it is defeated, to take the learnings and the response from the Australian people to heart, to take that on, but not walk away from Aboriginal people. Australians have got a lot of goodwill. They just rejected this way forward.
A lot of Indigenous Australians, Anthony Dillon, have rejected it, including yourself. Anthony, tell me, you've said it's because one of the reasons is there's not enough information. Do you agree with Peter Credlin on that front?
I certainly do, and more fundamentally, myself and all other Aboriginal people, we have voices already. So, it seems a little bit redundant that we've got this other thing being added on top of everything else when we already have voices.